Hey guys, today we're going to be looking at the practice of habit stacking and how we can use this tool to consistently smash our habits. So let's jump in. Firstly, it's important that we look at synaptic pruning. In horticulture, pruning means to remove excess material from a tree or shrub, especially to make more healthy or productive. Now, my housemate has a bonsai tree that he's very proud of, and he spends a lot of time pruning this tree by cutting off the small offshoots to keep it in tip-top shape. But we aren't looking at plants in this video, we're looking at the human brain. So back to synaptic pruning. Synapses are connections between the neurons in our brain, and synaptic pruning is something that happens as we age, without us even knowing about it. It's where the brain prunes the connections between neurons that don't get used very often, and on the flip side, the brain strengthens the connections that get used more often. The best example of this from my own experience is playing the guitar. When I'm learning a new finger-picking pattern, it feels so alien and unnatural. My hands feel very awkward and clunky as they navigate across the fretboard. But after practicing for a while, playing that same pattern becomes easier and easier until eventually it's effortless, and I can do it whilst holding a conversation with someone. And I'm sure you can think of loads of examples of this in your life too. Like going from being that absolute trash learner driver who stalls the car every mile, to then becoming that driver who ends up arriving at their destination wondering, wait, how did I even get here? Because you'd zoned out the whole time. And even something like being able to type on a keyboard without having to look at the letters that you were pressing. That's something that most of us take for granted, but we had to learn how to do that. Our brains have wired themselves to be able to perform this action without having to really think about what we're actually doing, which is crazy when you stop to think about it. So, how can we use this knowledge to help us with our habits? What is habit stacking? This is where habit stacking comes into play. Even if you're the most pathetic waste of space of a person who's super lazy and never gets anything done, I will be willing to bet my life savings that there are still habits that you consistently perform every single day without fail. Examples that come to mind are simple things like having a daily shower or brushing your teeth in the morning or even sitting down for dinner. I'm talking about the activities that are so ingrained in us that we forget that they are still technically habits because we complete them autonomously. And since we perform these habits every day, we can stack new habits on top of these existing habits to help us achieve our goals. The beauty of this technique is that, as we looked at previously, habits that we do routinely create strong connections between the neurons in our brain. So we can essentially piggyback off an existing habit to help us create a new habit. And this is great because the alternative, which is creating a brand new habit from scratch, is really difficult as our brain has to build brand new connections, which takes both time and energy. So now let's run through some habits that I've stacked in my life to help illustrate the point. I like having morning showers because they wake me up and get me ready for the day ahead. Sweet, so that's a strong existing habit that I do practically every single day without fail. And a little while ago, I read a few books and listened to a few podcasts about how great meditation is for your mind, so I wanted to get into the habit of daily meditation. And since I knew that habit stacking was a handy little trick that I could have up my sleeve, I decided that after showering each morning, I'd get dry, go to my bedroom, chuck on some clothes, and do a 10-minute guided meditation using the Headspace app. And for me, I enjoy meditating, and I 100% feel the benefits. But I often struggled to go from the momentum of running around all day to then spontaneously deciding to pause and focus on my breathing for 10 minutes. And back in the day, this resulted in my meditation practice being inconsistent. Whereas once I'd stacked the new habit of meditating onto the back of my existing habit of taking a morning shower, one habit would effortlessly flow into the other, and now my meditation practice is going from strength to strength. What I found to be so great about this technique is that it takes all of the thinking out of trying to create a new habit. I didn't have to waste any time or energy each day working out when I would sit down and get my meditating in. I simply followed the habit stacking formula, which is after/before the current habit, I will do the new habit. Often when adopting a new habit, people will try to pair the new habit with a particular time or location. For example, they decide that they will finish work at 5 PM, drive home, and go for a run at 6 PM. And there is nothing wrong with this, but sometimes it can be more helpful to anchor your new habit to an existing habit, because that way you already have a cue to remind you to flow into the new habit that you're trying to build. Multiple stacking. Another great thing about this tool is that you can stack multiple habits on top of each other. Let's say you're a morning person and you like getting everything ticked off your list at the start of the day. Cool, let's stack a few habits together then. For example, your habit stack might look something like wake up, morning shower, or a cold shower if you're a real badass. Make your bed, meditate, have breakfast, and read 10 pages of your book. Some of the habits mentioned above will be solid habits that you do every day, like waking up of course, and having breakfast. And others will be new habits that you're wanting to strengthen, like meditating or reading your book. And by weaving these new habits amongst your existing habits, you are leveraging the habit stacking technique to make things much, much easier. So in summary, your brain creates strong connections for activities that you repeatedly do. And in turn, this makes it easier for you to perform that task, either by making you more skilled at that task or by removing any mental hurdles that stop you from performing that task in the first place. We can utilize this knowledge by stacking new habits either before or after existing habits. And if you're feeling like Billy Big Balls, you can stack multiple habits on top of each other. And that's all from me, guys. If you'd like to support the channel, then please smash the like button and hit subscribe. Also, drop me a comment down below. Let me know a new habit that you've been wanting to get into. And lastly, a big shout out to James Clear, who wrote the book Atomic Habits. James was the person that first introduced me to the idea of habit stacking, and I highly, highly recommend that you check out his work. So either follow him on Instagram like I do, or I'll link loads of YouTube videos down below of great speeches that he's done. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.